Avuna Betra Mariam takes the greatest share for the establishment and living history of people of Zege. People of Zege live in a town founded by Avuna Betra Mariam in the early 13th century.
Betra Mariam ከሸዋ ተነስተው በበጌ ምድር ዞረው ወደ ዳጋ እስጢፋኖስ
From the very beginning, Avuna Betra Mariam stood from the province of Shoa. Then, crossing the province of Begemdr, he traveled to the island of Daga Stephanos and settled there. However, sometimes later, God revealed to him and ordered to go to the northwestern part of Lake Tana forest. Then, Avuna Betra Mariam traveled to Zege, the area where he was ordered to go, using his axle, locally called Zenge, as a boat to cross the lake. When Avuna Betra Mariam arrived at Zege, monks of the area asked him how he crossed the lake. Then, Avuna Betra Mariam told the monks that he crossed the lake using his axle, locally called Zenge, as a boat. Then, as time passed, the word Zeng or Zenge changed into the present-day name Zege.
Abba በምን መጡ ሲሏቸው በዘንጌ ያሉ በዘንጌ ማለታቸው በሂደት ዘንጌ የሚለው ዘጌ የሚለው አስገኘ ብለው ይተርካሉ።
Zege Island is found in the northwestern part of Lake Tana region, and Zege serves as a satellite town under the administration of Bahardar City. About 9 monasteries are found in the islands of Zege. As the history of the establishment of Zege is related with Christianity, people of the area follow the doctrine of Christianity. People of Zege have been preserving the promise of Avuna Betra Mariam for the past hundreds of years. People living in Zege never perform agricultural activity. Rather, they lead their lives by producing and selling coffee, buckthorn, lemon and other vegetable and fruit products. They lead their lives keeping the word and promise of Avuna Betra Mariam. Whip blowing, animal husbandry and farming activities are forbidden in the land of Zege for the sake of keeping the word of Avuna Betra Mariam. It is Avuna Betra Mariam who prohibited the people not to undertake farming and animal husbandry activity. During that time, the then generation asked Avuna Betra Mariam how to lead their lives if farming is forbidden. As to the chronicle of Avuna Betra Mariam, he used his axle, locally called Zeng, to cross the lake and traveled from Daga Stephanos to Zege. Then he broke his axle into 3 pieces and planted these 3 pieces of the axle. Then the 3 pieces grown, being coffee, buckthorn and lemon. Then after, Avuna Betra Mariam prayed to his God to bless those 3 trees and gave them as a means of living for the people of Zege. So, that time onwards, the lives of Zege people is fully dependent on the trees they plant and treat. There are many monasteries in the forest of Zege. The forest and the monasteries are highly interdependent. One is a reason for the existence of the other. Avuna Betra Mariam, who is called the father of Zege, founded the monastery of Mahal Zege Georgis in the 13th century. There is also a church of Avuna Betra Mariam in the forest, and this church was built for the sake of commemorating Avuna Betra Mariam after his days.
እንደምን ደናደራችሁ እንደምን ደናደራ
Zege ምረበዳን ነበር ይላል ምረበዳ ነው ነበር ሳቸው ከተለያዩ ገዳማት ሲጸልዩ ጸራጋንንትን ሲያባረሩ ለምጻሞችን ሲያነጹ ውራን ሲያበሩ ቆይተው
Zege was a desert area before the coming of Avune Betremariam. Before his arrival at Zege, Avune Betremariam used to pray and give spiritual service for the people in the other areas. Finally, he was ordered by God to go to Zege. Then he traveled from Daga Stephanos to Zege. As to the chronicle, Avune Betremariam crossed the lake found in between Daga Stephanos and Zege, using his axle, locally called Zeng, as a boat by the help of Saint Michael. Then he arrived at Timkate Bahar or Maimekja, a place around the shore of Zege. When the coming of Avune Betremariam to Zege is heard, about 500 monks came to him to visit and get blessing from him. Then those monks surprisingly asked Avune Betremariam how he crossed the lake and came to Zege. During this time, Avune Betremariam replied that he crossed the lake using his axle, what we call it locally Zeng or Zenge, as a boat. Beginning from that time, those monks started to call Avune Betremariam Abba Zenge. Then, as time passed, the word Zenge gradually changed into the present-day name, Zege. That's why the monastery is now called Zege.
Abba Zenge ያሉ ሲጦራቸው ይኖሩ ነበር እዛ ተነስቶ እዛ ሲያም የተነሳና ዘጌ ተብላ ዛሬ ገዳማ ዘጌ ተብላ ትኖራለች
In the monastery of Zege, old-aged trees which are planted around the 13th century are found. The monastery contributed a lot for the preservation of biodiversity of the area.
በትሮሚ ሲባል ረዳቸው ወይም ረዳታቸው ከሶስት ሰብራክ ዝራት ብለውት ይህን የምታዩት ንጹሃት በሙሉና እጸጀሾ እጻደስ እጸሎሚ እና ጻቡና ሆኖ ለዚህ ቦታ ላይ እጽዋት እንዲሆን የሳቸው ዘንግ ነው መንስኤ ሆነ
The reason for the formation of this forest is the axle of Avune Betremariam. During that time, Avune Betremariam ordered his mate to break the axle into 3 pieces and plant them here. Then, that time onwards, the 3 pieces grown up, being coffee, buckthorn and lemon trees. These trees gradually formed the forest. People of Zege never cut even a single tree in the forest. Rather, they plant different tree seedlings and afforest the area this way. In the land of Zege, cutting trees is considered as destroying the history of Avune Betremariam. So, it is strictly forbidden to cut trees.
ዛሬ ህብረተሰቡን የሃይማኖት አባቶች ወጣቶች ዲያቆናትም እንዲሁ ትውልድም ሆኖ ይህን የምታዩትን ወይራ አሁን በ4 ዓመት በ5 ዓመት በመሯሯጥ እየዘራ እንደገና እየለወጠው ነው የሚገኘው ይሄ
ዘጌ ከሌላው ማህበረሰብ የተለየ የደን አጠባበቅ ልማድ አለው
People of Zege have special culture of preserving forests compared to other communities. My research paper focuses on why the people of Zege, unlike other communities, have been able to preserve forests and biodiversity of the area for a long period of time. My research reveals that the reason for the ability of these people to preserve forests is highly related with Avune Betre Mariam.
በምን ምክንያት ነው የሚለውን ለመመርመር ነው የተነሳው ከአቡነ በትረ ማርያም ጋር የተያያዘ ሆኖ ይገኛል አብዛኛው
Forest preservation trend of people of Zege and the preaching of the monasteries is interconnected with their lives. Azwa Mariam is one of the ancient monasteries of Zege.
ስሟ መንበረ ብርሃን አዝዋ ማርያም ነው የተመሰረተችው በ1307 በአጼ አምደ ጽዮን ዘመነ መንግስት
The name of the monastery is Manvere Tsahai Azwa Mariam. It was established in 1307 Ethiopian calendar during the reign of Emperor Amde Tzion. Avune Betre Mariam is the founder of Azwa Mariam Church. History witnesses that Azwa Mariam was formerly the place where Avune Betre Mariam used to pray. As you are observing, the church is covered with trees or forests. The trees protect the church from wind and sun. Most people who come here for visit say that murals or paintings of the church do not seem they stayed for long period of time. They appear as if they are painted recently. So the presence of the forest trees contributed its part for the freshness of the paintings by protecting them from wind, dust and sun. The trees also give big freedom for monks of the church to pray freely under the trees. So the trees contributed a lot for the existence of the church.
አባቶችም ደግሞ ለጸሎት በዛፉ ስር በጫካው ተሸጎጣው ለጸሎት ለማድረግም ነፃነት አላቸው
It is 800 years since Zege has been founded. The population of the town is estimated to be in between 7 and 10,000. The lives of these people is based on coffee, buckthorn and lemon products inside the forest. They lead their lives by selling the fruits of these trees.
አሳም አሰግራለሁ በጧት ነርቭ እናወጣለን አሳና አሰግራለን
Apart from producing fruits, I engage in fishery activity. Early in the morning, I start the day by fishing. Then, after I finish my fishery activity, I immediately go to my garden to treat the fruit trees. We harvest buckthorn products twice in a year.
ያደገውንም ትልቁንም መንከባከብ ስራ እንሰራው በቃ አትክልቱ መንከባከብ ነው ገሾ በአመት ሁለት ጊዜ እንለቅማለን
As to the beliefs of people of Zege, apart from serving as a means of living, the presence of the forest has something to do with the elongation of their age to live on earth. I was born in 1956 and I am 60 years old. The trees protect us from unwanted sunlight and wind. They serve as a shield to protect us from highest temperature. We receive fresh air here inside the forest. This situation gives us great opportunity to live long and not to get old sooner. The forest is not only source of income for the people of Zege, rather it is also the source of their social and spiritual strength. People of Zege use trees of the forest to produce local medicines.
ህዝቡ በዳር ያለው እለታዊ ጉርስ ሊቆርጣቸው እንጨቶች እንደ ወንደ ግራው ያሉ አጥቅም ውጭ ሆኑ እነዛን እየቆረጠ ደግሞ እለት ጉርስ
Trees which are used by the people for household consumption are pre-identified by the community. No one is allowed to cut trees in the forest except plants identified by the community to be cut off.
ዘመቻ አለው ራሱ ይቻላል ዘመቻ ህብረተሰቡ ያደርጋል ወጣቱ ያደርጋል ዲያቆናቱም በራሱ ስምሪት አለው
ወጣ የማብረሰብ ህግ አለ በዛ ህግ መሰረት እየተዳደረ እስካሁን ድረስ እንደዚህ ሆኖ ቆይቷል
There is a social principle set by the community to cut trees in the forest. The people have been abided by this principle so far. Apart from these social principles, there is also legal committee which is organized to protect the forest. The committee works with agriculture and Qabale offices of the area. When people want to cut trees, they should first write announcement letter to the committee and Qabale office before they cut off the trees. Then, the written letter will be seen by the concerned bodies, and the concerned bodies will go to the area where the suggested trees are found. Then, the trees will be supervised by those legal bodies. So, if those bodies give permission to the people, the trees will be cut. However, if it is not permitted by the committee, the people can never cut off any tree. The people are administered in such a way.
አሁንም ደግሞ ለተተኪው ትውልድ ለማስተላለፍ በማህበረሰቡ አማካኝነት ነው እየተዳደረ ያለ ከ2 እስከ 8 ሄክታር ነው በቡናና በጥቅጥቅ ደን የተሸፈነ አባወራዎቹ ወደ ባባወራ ደረጃ ይሄ በቤት ደረጃ የሚቆጠር ነው ወደ 4000 approximately 4000 ሜትር አባወራ ነው ያለ
There are about 4,000 households excluding family members in Zege town. Each household has his own coffee forest, which is estimated to be from 2 to 8 hectares of land. It is their social responsibility to treat the coffee tree. The social principle of Zege people is interconnected with the doctrine of the monasteries. No one has freedom to cut off even his own trees. They have their own time and reason for cutting the trees. There is also Forest Regulation Committee in Zege. This Forest Regulation Committee has 9 members at Qabale level and 5 members at sub-Qabale level.
በቀበሌ ደረጃ 9 አባላት አሉት በየጎጡ ደግሞ 5 አባላት አሉት
As the forest is very dense, it is difficult to travel inside the forest, and the road inside the forest is complex. Strange people may get lost in the forest unless they are careful. For this reason, people of the community painted trees alongside the road, red color, to point the right directions of the road. So, people who travel in the forest should follow the painted trees while walking to have the right track. Ura Kidane Meheret is the other monastery of Zege, which has been densely covered with forest trees.
Amhara Ura Kidane Meheret የተመሰረተችው በ14ኛው ክፍለ ዘመን በአምደ ጽዮን ዘመነ መንግስት ይሆናል። እዚያ በኋላ ስዕሎቹ በ16ኛው ክፍለ ዘመን ተሳሉት።
Amhara Ura Kidane Meheret Church was established in the 14th century during the reign of King Amde Tzion. The murals or paintings found in the church were painted in the 16th century. Ura Kidane Meheret was founded by Abune Yohannes. His father's name was Yemane Brhan and his mother's name was Amhara Work. After Abune Yohannes was born and grown, he went to the holy city of Jerusalem to get blessing from places where Jesus Christ was born, baptized and crucified. When he returned from Jerusalem to his home country, he brought about 3 arks. Then he founded Kidane Meheret Church here. An angel sent from God called Uriel used to assist him and direct all the ways he traveled. After he built the church of Kidane Meheret, he named the church as Ura Kidane Meheret for the sake of commemorating the help and good deeds of the angel Saint Uriel. So the name of the church Ura was taken from Saint Uriel to commemorate him. That time onwards, the church and the area began to be called Ura Kidane Meheret.
አካባቢውን ኡራ ብለው ሰይመዋል። የመላኩን ስም ለማስታወስ ሲሉ ኡራኤል መልአክ እየመራቸው ስለመጣ ማለት ነው። አካባቢውን ኡራ ብለዋል። ከዚያን ጊዜ ጀምሮ ሁለቱም በአንድ ሆኖ ኡራ ኪዳነ ምሕረት እየተባለ ይጠራል ማለት ነው። ያው እንግዲህ ለደኖቹ ብዙ አስተዋጽኦ ታደርጋለች። በተለያዩ ቦታዎች ስትሄዱ አሁን ቤተክርስቲያን ግቢ ላይ ነው ብዙ ደኖች እጽዋቶቹ የሚገኙት።
The church contributes a lot for the preservation of the forest. Everywhere you go, you can find forests in the yards of the church. Here in Zege, the church and the society usually work together to protect the trees. The society knows very well that the trees are the base of their lives. That's why they prefer to lead their lives through fruit production than agriculture by deforesting forests. If trees are deforested, the area will be a desert.
ማለት ደኖቹ ተጨፍጭፈው ካለቁ ወደላ ነገር ይዛውራል ማለት ነው። ወደ ገጠርነት ይሄዳል።
Coffee, which is one of the bases of the lives of the people of Zege, has been decreasing in its productivity some years onwards. However, living with this kind of productivity problem, the society never thinks to change their way of life into agriculture and deforest trees.
እዚህ ቦታ ላይ እርሻ የለም። እዚህ ቦታ ላይ መንግስት ስራ ወይም ደግሞ ኢንዱስትሪ ነገር የለም። ያቺ በጀሾ በለሎሚ በእጽዋቶች
There is no either agriculture or industrial investment activity here in Zege. The lives of the society is based upon fruit production. As you are observing, the forest still exists, keeping its originality. Every time in summer season, we do have tree planting campaign, including monks of the monastery. All segments of the society participate in the campaign and plant trees.
ዘመቻ አለው ራሱ ይቻላል ዘመቻ ህብረተሰቡ ያደርጋል ወጣቱ ያደርጋል ዲያቆናቱም በራሱ ስምሪት አለው
ከኢየሩሳሌም ተቆርሶ መጣም ይባል በዛንግም ሄደው ያን ስርዓት ያበጁት የነዚህ ትረካዎች መኖር ለዛ አካባቢ ስነ ምህዳር መጠበቅ ከፍተኛ አስተዋጽኦ አበርክቷል
The narrative of Avune Betre Mariam and Avune Yohannes greatly contributed for the preservation of biodiversity of Zege. Avune Betre Mariam is said to be the father of Zege. This is because the principles and social values through which the society is governed have been set by Avune Betre Mariam. He is like Prophet Moses of Israel for people of Zege. As Prophet Moses of Israel bisected the Red Sea through his axle, Avune Betre Mariam also crossed Lake Tana through his axle and established the community of Zege and its social principles. Avune Betre Mariam set a social principles for Zege community not to hunt wild animals, deforest trees, and undertake agricultural activity. Not only this, Avune Betre Mariam also set a principle even for wild animals of the forest not to attack people of the area.
አደን እንዳያድኑ እርሻ እንዳያርሱ ደን እንዳይመነጥሩ በትዩ ደግሞ አራዊት ሰውን እንዳይተናኮሉ ህግና ስርዓትን ተክለዋል
The father of Zege, Avune Betre Mariam, made the spiritual and secular lives of the people integrated well. The social values and principles set by Avune Betre Mariam have stayed for hundreds of years, and people of the area proudly and hopefully say that these values and principles will stay for a long period of years and continue as it is.
በገንዘብ ተገዝቶ ይመጣ ነገር እንጂ ምንም ነገር ባለመኖሩ ህዝቡ ትንሽ ኑሮ ከበድሏል ቡናው አንዳንድ ጊዜ የማያፈራበት ዘመን አለ ማያፈራበት ጊዜ አለ በተለይ አሁን እንደውም የሆነ እንደ ተባይ ነገር እየበላው
The decrement of the productivity of coffee is threatening the lives of the people. Most of the time, the coffee production is affected by pests. This is resulting a decrement in the productivity of coffee trees. However, even though the people are in such a difficult challenge, they never try to violate the social laws and principles set by Avune Betre Mariam. The people never try to cut the trees and start agricultural activity. Rather, they use other alternative to sustain their lives. So, the people have been preserving the existence of the area even in such a difficult situation and transferring the legacy of protecting forests to the coming generation.
ለጊዜው ልጠቀምበትና ጊዜውን ካገኘው ካራበኝ እኔ ለነገው ትውልድ ምን አገባኝ አይነት ነገር ስለማያስብ ያው ቦታው ተጠብቆ ይቆያል ማለት ነው
ለዚህ ለማህበረሰቡ በደን ውስጥም ቢሆኑ በእነዚህ የዕለት ኑሮውን እንዲኖር የተፈቀደ ነው
The community is allowed to lead its lives by only producing fruit productions found in the forest. As the blessing and prayer of Avune Betre Mariam is with the people of Zege, small things are enough to live for the people of Zege. So the community keeps the promise and word of Avune Betre Mariam and lives in a way they are allowed to live.
በዚህ ጫካ በዚህ ገዳም ላይ የሚኖሩ ማህበረሰቦች በእንደዚህ ህይወታቸው ሊኖሩ ተፈቀደ ከእግዚአብሔር የተሰጠነ ጸጋ ነው።
አቡነ በትረ ማርያም በ14ኛው መቶ ክፍለ ዘመን ከሸዋ ተነስተው ከሰባቱ ሌሎች ከዋክብት ጋር ከና አቡነ ሂሩት አምላክ እና ከሌሎችም ጋር
together with the 7 stars like Avune Hirut Amlak, Avune Betre Mariam came to this area and founded Zege and its social values. Forest preservation trend of the people of Zege is related with the commandment of Avune Betre Mariam. The other contributing factor for the preservation of the forest of this area is related with the history of Abune Johannes. Abune Johannes went to Jerusalem, the place where Jesus Christ was born, baptized and crucified, for blessing. When he was at Jerusalem, he prayed to God to give him similar sacred place as a state. Then God listened to his prayer and promised him to give the place where he was standing for prayer, called Devre Zigag, as a state forever. Then, immediately after God promised Avune Johannes to give him that place, Devre Zigag, the place was miraculously cut up and came to Lake Tana. Then, as time passed, the name Devre Zigag gradually changed into the present-day name Zege. This narrative has greatly contributed for the preservation of biodiversity of the area. This is because it is believed that Zege, formerly called Devre Zigag, is a holy place brought from Jerusalem through divine power.
Zigag የሚለውን በሂደት ዘጌ የሚለውን አስገኘ። ይሄ ትረካ ቀላል አይደለም ስነ ምህዳሩ ለመጠበቅ ምክንያቱም ከኢየሩሳሌም በጸሎት ኃይል በመንፈስ ቅዱስ ተገፍቶ የመጣ ቅዱስ ቦታ ነው ተብሎ እንዲታሰብ የሚያደርግም ስለሆነ ማለት ነው።